It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Welcome in. It's Friday, everyone, which means it's our Thursday here on Sports by the Book. I'm Jeff Parles, and as always, my co-host with a big announcement here at the beginning of the show on Fridays.
That's right. I'm Alex White, and we have started diving into football. When you think football, you have to think about Football Contest. Today's show is brought to you by footballcontest.com. If you want to enter any Vegas football contest this summer, go with the pros at footballcontest.com. Experience matters. Visit proxy.footballcontest.com and use promo code SBTB for a special offer from Maddie and Tony.
That's, again, make sure you use that promo code. You're not going to get that special offer without it. SBTB. That's that's Sports by the Book.
Yes,
there you go. Of course, Vegas, Maddie and company, always incredible job over there. All right, you can swoosh it. Let's go. We got a short episode today because Gone Racing's coming up at 10. Duane Colucci joins us in 10 minutes. There's the swoosh. There it is with audio around it, which is very nice. Let's start at number one. How about this? What a sentence that I'm about to utter. The red-hot Houston Astros in Queens taking on the red-hot Mets. Despite having the least amount of games in the month, the New York Mets are tied with the Orioles, the Dodgers, and these Astros for the most wins in the month of June. Hello, Grimace. By the way, this is virtually a pick 'em at most books. Depending on where you're looking will impact what it is. Behind us right now, the where did it go on my screen? There it is. Right now, you're looking at the Astros as a minus 105 both sides. Actually, now the Mets have just overtaken them at minus 108.
Very tough to handicap. As you mentioned, both teams playing very well in this month. And if you're better of most wins in June, you're really sweating this out between them and the Dodgers. And that is number 2. Landon Knack gets his third start, his 6th appearance for the Dodgers against Logan Webb and the Giants. Basically a pick 'em for them as well. Little money on the Dodgers. Minus 116 total in this one. 7.5 juice to the under. Minus 115.
American League Division Series rematch in Baltimore. Orioles just beat the snot out of the Rangers last night. Poor John Gray just did not have it yesterday. They'll send Albert Suarez, the O's will, to the mound today against Max Scherzer, who actually looked pretty good in his first start off the IL this year. Second start for Scherzer. How about this? Big mover in this game. They're all over Texas from minus 128 to minus 112. Total's also gone up a half a run from 8. Now it's actually 8.5 juice minus 125, so we might even see a 9 by the time this game goes, Alex.
As you mentioned, money on the Rangers, probably just for Max Scherzer there because they have been struggling offensively. Number 4, Connecticut Sun playing on back-to-back nights after beating the Mystics 94-91 in overtime. They will host the Atlanta Dream today. Have to lay a big number here if you like Connecticut, minus 10. Total in this one, 150.5. Pretty low total for a WNBA game.
I saw such a good in-game number on the Sun yesterday. I just didn't go on it, Alex. It ended up getting there, as you said. How about a super-duper over in that game as well because of the overtime? Only going over by about 30-plus points yesterday there in D.C. And then number 5 on the soccer front, Copa America has not been particularly kind to North American teams that are in it. Team USA losing yesterday, Mexico losing the day before. Brazil, of course, of South America, minus 310 today to take on Paraguay, just down the road from us at Allegiant Stadium tonight. Brazil drew their first match in the tournament, so looking for the Brazilians, who were one of the 2 pre-tournament favorites with Argentina, to bounce back tonight after their draw against Costa Rica in the first game of this tournament for the Brazilians. And now is a quick moving starting 5 here this morning because we only have 25 more minutes here today because of Gone Racing with Jeff Motley and Brendan Gahn coming your way at 10. Duane Colucci will be with us in the next, there you go. Very good, Ryan. 5 minutes for Duane Colucci coming up. Then we can roll right through here, Alex. We'll get through our baseball best bets early here today in the show and maybe even mix in some W before Duane. Let's start with the matchup we brought up on Fungo Trivia yesterday on Punchlines. The Pirates, the Braves, Charlie Morton, of course, former Bucco, goes for the Bravos here today. Martin Perez It's been a little bit of a struggle for Martin Parles. He goes for the Pirates, minus 190 now on Atlanta, 25 cents up from the overnight. Total 8.5. Opener now at 9. Juice to the under here, Alex.
I did go over that 8.5. You have to shop around. It looks like all the 8.5s are gone. So you do have to go over that 9 if you like this over, but kind of against both pitchers here. Martin Perez, 4.71 ERA. First game back in a month. Last start was May 26 against who else but the Braves. Only went 3 innings, 4 hits, just 1 run. But now this lineup has a second chance at him. Charlie Morton, 4.2. Besides the Athletics, Yankees, Rays, Nats twice. Hit pretty well against Morton. So a little bit against him as well. I do like the over in this one. And I know the Braves have struggled offensively, but I think they're going to have their way here with Perez.
It's the kind of pitcher that the Braves usually do well against. Soft tosser. Left-handed numbers have not been as good as you would have hoped for Atlanta. I think a lot of that is the injury to Acuna, who, of course, just eats up left-handed pitching.
That's right.
Of course, this is the team that Acuna got hurt against as well in that matchup about a month ago. So look, we'll see with the Braves. I know that, Alex, at least you and I have looked at Atlanta, and before the year they were the betting favorite, properly so, to win the World Series, win the National League. They have dealt with just this collection of, it's not even like it's clump injuries. It's just significant injuries to significant pieces, where if you're without your best player, the former MVP in Acuna, you're without Spencer Strider, who was the Cy Young favorite going in. But the Braves have taken full advantage of this National League being a pile of mediocrity for the most part, and it's going to take a lot for Atlanta to just dump out of the playoffs completely. They're pretty safely right now, still 4.5 games clear of the next place team in the NL wild card for that top wild card right now.
It is tough, and we'll see how they do through the rest of this stretch, because it is a battle of health, and that is definitely what they have been battling.
Let's go to Milwaukee next. Brew Crew taking on the Cubs, who, again, it's just been a rough go of it, even though the Cubs won yesterday in San Francisco. It's been a bad stretch for Chicago. They can't hit. Be Colin Rea going for the Brew Crew. Tyone makes a return to Milwaukee going for the Cubs. 8.5, Alex, plus 121 on the North Siders, minus 131 on Milwaukee here.
So this one makes me a little bit nervous because Milwaukee has been very good, especially offensively. But I am going with the under here, under 8.5. Gonna trust Tyone here against the Brewers. And on the other side, I really like Colin Rea. I think he has done fantastic. 3.62 ERA. Last 3 starts, batting average from his opponents, just 200. So I like this under. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Pretty good number here at 8.5.
Yeah, just the Cub offense is a pathetic mess right now. It really just, and it hasn't been just since April. They were great. The Cubs were in first place. It looked like, our handicap of, hey, Chicago's the best team in this division looks pretty good. The Brewers obviously have held up a lot better than I think either of us expected this year. And the Cubs are currently in last place in the NL Central entering the weekend. Let's go to the team that the Cubs just played for against. Let's go to San Francisco. We always like talking about Logan Webb, who is San Francisco's best pitcher. They're taking on the LA Dodgers, the big-time prospect. Logan goes again. This is, as you said, in the starting 5, his 3rd start in the bigs. This is, again, we're seeing some prices on the Dodgers you normally won't see. Again, saw the Dodgers as a small favorite against the worst team in baseball earlier this week because of a pitching mismatch. They won that game. Now another pitching mismatch on paper. You actually get the Dodgers as a dog, not the best price that it was at the moment. Was as high as plus 108 on LA. Now it's minus 101. So the market's starting to correct itself here, but you're not looking side. You're looking to double dip on the total here, first 5 and full game.
Yes, full game under 7.5, because you mentioned it. I mean, the Dodgers are struggling, not even just against starting pitchers, against bullpens where they usually put up a lot of runs. So going for that under 7.5. Also paid a little bit extra for this hook here, but went under 4.5, minus 165 in this game. Knack has been really good for them. I know we haven't seen much, just 25 innings pitched, but 18 strikeouts for him. And we've talked about it, Logan Webb, very good this year. So going with the unders in this one as well.
It's never a bad decision to go under in a Logan Webb game. I wish that this is just one of those where the pricing is so weird for me on the side where even even though it's a pitching mismatch, I still think the Dodgers should be favored. Just because we're taking the full game into account and you look at the full rosters. I know pitchers, obviously, the starting pitchers with the biggest impact to the line of any player in these games. But the Dodgers are just so much better than the Giants at basically every other thing. And even though the Giants just had a very good series this week after getting swept by St. Louis, they come back, they win 3 out of 4 against the Cub team that is really doing what you're supposed to do. But I'm a little surprised the market is kind of, at least the way that it's gone here. I'm a little surprised the market was aggressive on the Giants early. Not surprised the market has come back on LA. Still want to see how far this goes the other direction. I'll go with a lean here earlier, Alex, that the number has changed a little bit.
So that is a game of interest for me, but is there any games you'd want to hit on before we get to Duane Colucci?
I will tell you real quick. I'm a little bit surprised with the way that the Mets and Astros have been bet. It's Ronald Blanco, who has arguably been Houston's best pitcher this year, against Jose Quintana, who has pitched a little better recently, but has had his struggles. I thought Houston opening at the favorite was right. I'm a little surprised. I know that the Mets both of these teams are red hot right now, but I'm a little surprised that the market has played the Mets into a favorite here. A little surprised by that. If we can get a little bit of a better price, I would look to Houston. I know that hurts my soul, but I would look to Houston a little bit if the price gets a little bit better, Alex. Not quite there yet, but we need to be pushing close to plus 110 in order to be really looking at the Stros here.
I will say, though, from looking at how the bettors are betting this, Blanco has been hit as of late. So started really hot this year, but people are starting to figure him out a little bit. So, and the Mets lineup has been one of the best.
Mets have been the best offense in baseball the last 3 weeks, averaging north of 7.5 runs a game, which is electric, to say the very least. All right, let's get that one game you're looking at in the Pacific Northwest. Minnesota goes up there. Twins will take on the Mariners. Ober against Gilbert, 7. The total here, it's juiced to the over. It was 7.5. Line hasn't moved at all. M's minus 125, plus 115 on Minnesota.
So now that this has moved down to 7, I'm going to bet this over.
Okay.
Kind of banking on a regression for both of these starting pitchers. If you look at their last opponents, they aren't very strong opponents to go off of. So I think their numbers are a little skewed, and I think we're going to see some regression from both of them. So Bailey Ober, twice against the Athletics, once against the Pirates. Pirates went 4.2 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs. Decent against the Yankees, awful against the Royals. 5 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs in that one. On the flip side, Logan Gilbert, 2 shutout games. That looks very impressive for him if you look at his last 3 games. But it was against the Marlins and the Rangers. We know the Rangers have really been struggling at the plate. Before that, White Sox went 6.2 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. Not great against that Chicago team. And then the Athletics before that had 5 hits off of him in 7 innings. So regression from both of them. I'm banking on their offenses to get going. But now that it's moved down, I think it's a good time to go over the 7.
Minnesota had a amazing day yesterday in Arizona. They just annihilated Jordan Montgomery. You know what? Now that I'm listening to you and also just looking at that, I'm surprised that is a 7. Really am. More so on the fact that it's Ober that's pitching more than Gilbert. We know Logan Gilbert at his best can shut anyone down. A little surprised it came 7. I thought that 7.5 was probably a little bit better, even 8, especially in these summer months where the roof's going to be open there in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle. All right, let's take a quick break. When we get back, our friend Duane Colucci. Look at that. The effort fully there from everyone behind the glass of the Rampart, race and sportsbook director up there. We'll talk to Colucci when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Have you always wanted to enter the biggest and best football contest in Las Vegas, but didn't know where to start and who to trust? Look no further than footballcontest.com to get the info you need to succeed, including breakdowns of the most popular and highest paying football contests in the world, such as the Westgate Super Contest, Circa Sports Million, and Circa Survivor. Plus, find out how you can reserve the most trusted proxy in the business right now at footballcontest.com, as Maddie and Tony have been leading the way for over a decade with more than $10 million in winners during that time frame. All you need to do is find a way to get to Vegas sometime this summer and sign up for these football contests in person. Then let Maddie and Tony do the rest. They will submit your picks for you and help you focus on doing what you do best, picking winners. Don't miss out on the action this upcoming football season. Experience matters. So go with the pros at footballcontest.com. That's footballcontest.com.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book. Jeff Parles, Alex White, as always, bringing you sports betting content here in the morning. Again, your Friday, our Thursday. We're, of course, back tomorrow at 9 a.m. But now joining us, our good friend. He runs the sports book, the race book up at the Rampart in Summerlin. Our good friend, Duane Colucci, joins us right now. Duane, good morning. How you doing today?
Doing good, Jeff. How you guys doing at the beautiful South Point?
No complaints. No complaints. It's always great to talk to you, as always. And I just want to start off. Let's just start with baseball as a whole here, Duane. Of course, we're with the NBA Finals. They're done. The Stanley Cup Final, they're done at this point. We're now into the point where it's Major League Baseball, it's WNBA, it's some international soccer tournaments, as we talked about last week. Just how is the action up at your shop, up there in Summerlin, on baseball on a daily basis, where now we're 2 days away from being in the beginning of the dog days of July and August?
Yeah, Jeff, definitely a lot of sharp action. That's what I have. Early in the morning, these guys are lining up, and, it's really good to see. But this is the difficult time of the season. I always say that as a bookmaker, it's difficult for us because we're trying to generate handle, and we're lucky we have the Euro Cup, like you said, and the WNBA finally starting to market themselves and get us a little handle. But, Chris does a fabulous job. He puts up several propositions, team over-unders. We have the Caitlin Clark propositions, and we're trying to garner as much handle that we can to offset this sharp action during the baseball season. And you guys know how baseball is. It is such a streaky sport, and you start to have these guys that start to, they definitely ride the streaks, and it becomes difficult as bookmakers. The Mets right now on fire, Jeff. You know it. I mean, you're a big Met guy. I'm from Queens. It's good to see. I mean, I'm glad they turned it around. It is so much better when you have both the New York teams and the Dodgers competing at a high level, because it garners such a good handle, as opposed to just having in the past few years, you had Houston there every year and the Dodgers, but now you add the Yanks and the Mets into the mix, and it's always good to see, and it definitely creates more action from the other side of the counter. But like I said, it's very difficult, and Chris does a great job with his team out there to, garner even more handle and try and offset this sharp action.
And of course, the dime line, which is the best lines in baseball from these two spots. Let's talk about the Mets. We are just talking about them. They are playing the Houston Astros. Both teams have been very hot this month. Money coming in on the Mets. Do you have any thoughts on this game?
Mets are on fire, Alex. I mean, look at the way they're hitting the ball, from top to bottom, getting great play out of their catcher position, getting great play right now out of Francisco Lindor. This guy is starting to, come into his own. And when he starts to hit the ball, he's the stir that stirs the drink. I say that time and time again. I mean, you're talking about a team that won 17 out of 23 games. They're just getting phenomenal pitching now. They destroyed the Yankees in those last two games, and the Yankees, definitely were rattled, as you could see last night. So the Mets are definitely a play. They're a focal point, in my opinion, now at the counter, Alex. So we have to be very careful. They're in the wild card hunt. I think they're like a half game out, maybe a game out. And they want to make a push before the All-Star break. So we're going to be careful with the Mets, but definitely they look like the right side. But this Houston team, I think they won 7 in a row at home. So now you're starting to get a good matchup. We're going to see good two-way action here, Alex. It started to come in on the Mets initially, but now, I think we're going to see a lot of parlays with Houston as well. And this is a great, great game. Great matchup tonight on a Friday night for the MLB card.
As we said in the open, Mets, Astros, Dodgers, and Orioles all tied for the most wins in baseball in the month of June. If I know some books put up most wins in each month. If you're sweating one of those, good luck this weekend, because there are 4 teams in it. Mets, by the way, begin a stretch today where they play 17 straight days heading into the All-Star break. So they are not off until the baseball world shifts to Arlington, Texas for the All-Star game in the middle of July. So that is something, at least maybe in a week or so, to keep your eye on when you're handicapping this team. Duane, I want to go to the other New York team because there seems to be a lot of panic with Yankee fans right now. They are not playing well. They got absolutely toasted last night again in Toronto. Their starting pitching starting to show cracks. Their lineup, other than the 2 juggernauts at the top and Judge and Soto has really struggled of late. Marcus Stroman goes tonight for the Bronx Bombers against USA Kikuchi, and this is a game that has just been bet all over the map here at the South Point and up in your shop. Yankees open -115. It got as high as Yankees +105, so the odds flipped there. And now the Jays -109 favorites, Yankees -101. Just your thoughts on the Yankees and what has really hurt them over this stretch where they have just not played well.
Well, they came back down to earth, Jeff. I mean, they were playing over their heads to begin with. And, let's not get crazy just yet. I mean, Garrett Cole is going to get back. He's going through his trials. He just came off the injured list. The rookie Hill, he got shellacked. So he was pitching over his head, too. He was like 9-1 at one point. Now you have injuries. You have Stanton that is banged up, and that takes away even from the top two juggernauts. DJ LeMahieu can't hit the ball. The other night, he lollygagged on a play. At third base. It went then into the outfield. It turned into a double. He tried to barehand it. He's not playing at a top level. Rizzo is hurt. These guys are all banged up. So I think they're going to limp into the All-Star break, but they'll be fine after that as long as they stay healthy. Stroman, I think, has a chance tonight. He definitely wants to go into Toronto and prove a point. Kikuchi, he's up and down, so he could definitely be hit. I look for Judge to go off tonight as well as Soto. Yankees get back on the beam tonight. Don't get too nervous yet, Jeff. I know you love it where the Mets are out playing the Yankees, but, there's a lot of injuries on this Yankee team. Let it subside. Verdugo is still there. He's playing okay. I watch him. He's a gamer. He goes out there. He tries hard constantly. You got two serviceable catches. I think Trevino's the better catch out of the two, but, they definitely have some holes in the lineup now. Stanton's legs finally gave out. He came in very light. He looked tremendous this whole season. And, as you saw the higher batting average, he was hitting for power, but now you take him out of the lineup and there's even more pressure on Soto. And right now, here is my to managers playing against the Yankees. Don't pitch to Aaron Judge. The guy is just going to destroy you. He is by far the best power hitter in the game. Nothing to take away from Ohtani. Ohtani is fabulous, and I'm a Dodger guy. So, I won't say that he's that far ahead, but this guy really is pounding the ball right now after a tremendously slow start to the season. He is now elevated. And, I was seeing stats that they were showing during that Mets season series, and they were just saying, the first Yankee, the last two to do it, Garrick and Root. So now when you're in the same breath as Garrick and Root, you're a monster. And I just say time and time again, try not to pitch to Aaron Judge, but I think the Yankees will win this game tonight.
I just want to ask you about one pitcher specifically, and that is Max Scherzer. Rangers going against the O's. They dominated John Gray and them yesterday, winning 11-2. Rangers have really struggled offensively. So we saw one start from Scherzer so far, 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, no earned runs. What do you expect from him today in his second start back?
Alex, he's a gamer, so he's definitely going to be tough. He's a great pitcher. He's one of the best that we've seen in the last 10 years. Yes, he's getting older now, but he, definitely knows how to find himself. He knows how to make the adjustments. He was fabulous in that first appearance, and they definitely need solid pitching because you hit the nail on the head. They are just not hitting the ball the way they were last year. Nothing is coming together right now, so you do need solid performances when Max Scherzer takes the hill, and that's very, very important. So we're going to see how that plays out. Scherzer's definitely a gamer, though. I love the way this guy plays the game, always with a chip on his shoulder. So I'm definitely looking at, him to be solid once again.
Duane, are you buying the Guardians, who currently have the best record in the American League?
It's so tough. I don't think they're as good as the Orioles or the Yankees, and I think those West Coast teams will start to play better. You're seeing the Astros already, but the Guardians are solid. Now they're starting to finally hit for power. They have a tremendous lineup, and you definitely have to be careful. That division has been, though, like a heartbeat. Kansas City start off hot. Minnesota was right there. You have Cleveland now that's peaking. So that's a very difficult, division to handicap, in my opinion, especially from my side of the counter. But right now, the the Guardians, they'll probably go into the All-Star break with the divisional lead, and I think that they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. You've seen these underdog teams in the American League sometimes creep in there and start to play really well. Not always the Yankees, not always the Astros, not always, Baltimore, but you see these teams start to, find holes in the opposition, and they put together a winning streak, and that division is for the taking. You don't have a Yankee juggernaut in that division. So, yeah, I could buy into them a little. I don't think they're the best team in the American League, Jeff, but they're definitely right there.
Duane, I have to put you on the spot because our good friend Ralph Sirocco, he teased that you would be on our show today when he was on Race Day Las Vegas. So any pony picks for you today or coming up this weekend that you could share with us?
Well, we have the Stephen Foster this weekend. Churchill Downs is going to close. And what you have now, Alex, you don't have all the prime runners basically running because Saratoga and Del Mar are right around the corner. But, yeah, definitely the Stephen Foster is going to be a focal point. Today, I had a few. I was looking at some, races at Churchill Downs. Belmont, at the surface, Aqueduct, I should say, it's been difficult. They've been taking races off the turf, so there's a lot of scratches. I think First Mission, though, will get the job done in the Stephen Foster over the weekend. So look at First Mission. He's trying grade 1 competition once again. I think he could get right back into the mix and finally get that grade 1 victory. That's a marquee grade 1, especially at closing weekend at Churchill. Also, come out to the Rampart. We take care of our horse players. And, with that closing weekend, it's going to be definitely off the hook. So get here early. It's going to be very crowded for the Churchill Downs and Aqueduct action. Unfortunately, Southern Cal Santa Anita is on its little break. We have Los Alamitos over the weekend. But, yeah, I'm looking at First Mission, and I think that horse has an excellent chance in the Stephen Foster handicap.
He's Duane Colucci, NY Bookie Duane on the tweets. Of course, race and sportsbook director up at the Rampart in Summerlin, and always Friday with us here on Sports by the Book. Duane, it's always a pleasure, man. Thanks for hanging with us today.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Alex. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Absolutely. Duane Colucci, everyone. All right, Alex, we have a few minutes before we have to say goodbye on a Friday because Gone Racing is coming your way at the top of the hour. Brennan Gone, Jeff Motley, get you ready for the week in NASCAR. Let's go to W. 2 games tonight. Atlanta taking on Connecticut first. You brought this up in the starting 5. The Sun playing the second of a back-to-back, and it was not an easy one in D.C. last night. They needed overtime. They had to come back from double digits down in order to beat the Mystics, but credit to the Sun, they did it. Now they're a double-digit favorite tonight. Total's really low again, as it is in Sun games, at 150.5. What direction are we looking to go here?
So I did have a pretty rough day yesterday in the WNBA. Tough with sports betting, right? Because I love the Fever and the Storm over, but I also had a play on the Storm covering. They did that easily, missed the over by 1 there with just 35 points scored in the fourth quarter. But back at it today. Was on the Mystics yesterday as a lean, said to take those points covering. They covered pretty easily. Today, I do think is the day to back the Suns. And I know double digits is scary, but I think that playing on back-to-back, they'll get in their rhythm again and be up for this challenge. As I mentioned yesterday as well, very down on this Atlanta Dream team, just dealing with too many injuries. So I took them at 8.5. I think you're okay here at 10 if you want to wait for in-game to get a better number, but anything below 10, I think you're okay, and Connecticut will cover that number.
Sparks and Mercury, the other game. This kind of just on the surface feels like a tough handicap, Alex, because I think we both kind of underrated Phoenix coming into the year where they're better than we expected, but this is hard for me to look at a double-digit line with them against basically anyone and say, hey, I want to lay that, even at home. Total, shocker, been bet up. It's even now 169.5. That just happened a few minutes ago. So a 3-point move on the total. As we say every single day, a lot of these games just get banged to the over. This feels like a really difficult handicap if there's even anything here for this one.
I agree. And I did make this number 11.5. So okay. I agree with the books that they should be double-digit favorites over the Sparks. Of course, missing Cameron Brink, who is a big part of their defense. But it's tough to lay that with the Mercury. If anything, the Sparks have been really good in the first quarter, and Phoenix has taken some time to get going. So maybe look for them to cover first quarter.
First quarter, real quick, just pulling it up. 3.5 first quarter. Is that good enough?
Not bad. I mean, if you want to follow trends, and we know that trends don't pay the rent, as Jimmy Vaccaro would say, but that is the trend. I will pull it up exactly. But
while you pull that up,
Sparks 12-4 covering in the first quarter.
So they've been great early in games and have fallen off. So maybe take a shot 3.5 first quarter there with LA. Let's check in with our George Kittle wearing Ryan McCormick today in the red jersey of San Francisco, or what is that? Technically rust, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what it's technically called.
I'm not sure what the actual color is, but
we know Alex White will be there on Punchlines at noon.
Yes,
what else will
she
be
will.
there at noon with you and Frank Nicotero?
Well, we're talking a lot of different things around the sports world. We've got MLB content, NHL content, WNBA content, some NBA content, and it's going to be a lot of football today as well. We've got a Filter Friday, one of the segments that we debuted last week, and then we got picks at 12:36, and a bunch of normal things that we have on the program. So tune in at noon.
Is anything normal on Punchlines though?
Consistently.
Okay, that's good. The consistent segments. We can't.
Yes.
You never know what you're going to get. There's always a plan. Well done by our guy Ryan McCormick. But hey, with our comedian on staff, Frank Nicotero, anything is in play as always on Punchlines. Before we go, you can run through once more for everyone at home what Alex White is betting here today on a Friday.
So Pirates and Braves over 8.5. Cubs and Brewers under 8.5. Dodgers and Giants under 4.5 first 5. Under 7.5 full game. And then I just added Twins and Mariners over 7. Also like Connecticut Sun to get it done today. -10 or wait for in-game. Try and get a better number.
You're carrying the desk today. I am enjoying my Friday and not doing anything, at least pre-flop. Maybe in-game bets, but it's a Friday. I think a lot of these lines are very sharp, but we'll be on the lookout for some in-game in baseball as always. There's always some opportunity there. Well, let's have that the White Sox game, the Phillies game against the Marlins. Let's have that in the pocket. Let's see if Miami gets out a few runs. Maybe we'll take some better prices on Philadelphia in-game. Marlins did come from behind to beat the Phillies last night.
Yes, they did.
And the White Sox beat the Braves. So the two biggest dogs on the board last night both won outright in Major League Baseball. You and I are back tomorrow.
Loaded show.
Lou Finicaro will join us tomorrow. Big UFC card here in Vegas. We'll also have Vinny Magliulo as well tomorrow. Of course, we're into the month of July after that. How about that?
And we recap our NFC North.
Yes, we do. We'll have our order.
That's right.
We'll have our order of the NFC North, where I think I know who you're putting at the top. I haven't decided yet. I have to go through my numbers one last time to see who comes out on top in the NFC North. We'll see you tomorrow. Gone Racing comes your way at the top of the hour here at South Point Studio. This has been Sports by the Book.